Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by A.G. Hines Company. Supply lines are still an issue, folks. I know you know that. That's certainly true in the field of building materials, and that's where it pays to be a locally owned, century-old company. A.G. Hines Company has the products and tools that all the big national boys can't get their hands on right now, and they've got them right there for you at great prices. That's why the best contractors, biggest contractors in East Tennessee have gone to them. That's why so many people go there before they start their own do-it-yourself project. A.G. Hines Company. You see the phone number. You can find them down on Hines Street, and you can find them on the web, obviously. A.G. Hines Company, the Hines family, boy, they do it the right way. Go down there, you'll see for yourself. All right, this is our Hot Read segment, and I want to welcome in Chuck Cavaleris down there, longtime sports writer, and of course the owner and proprietor of the Chucky C. Note Casino. Chuck, thanks for being here.
Great to be here.
I'm indebted.
Free cheeseburger.
He's going to break Jimmy's legs here in a couple weeks. First question, and let's go ahead and put up the numbers for Hendon Hooker. You see what he did in his first 3 games, then you see his numbers yesterday against Florida. Chuck and Josh, I'll start with you guys. Assuming Hendon Hooker can go versus Missouri, and that looked like a concussion last night, so now you got to sweat that all week. Assuming he can go, how do you feel about UT's starting quarterback at this point? Is he good? Is he average? Is he below average? How do you feel about Hendon Hooker?
Well, I think you have to feel good. I mean, it's at least Josh Dobbs light, back there in that number 5.
Oh, boy, I don't know about that.
But, the way he makes some plays, and it's been so inconsistent with what you've had. And in this offense, you've got to be able to, the quarterback has to be able to make some plays with his feet. I wonder how they got it wrong to begin with. It seems so obvious during the game. I feel much better with him in there healthy than I do with anything else so far.
Agreed. But comparing him to quarterbacks across the conference, across the nation, is he above average, average, below average? Where are you?
I would say above average.
Okay.
I would say average with some.
That's where I am.
Yeah, maybe he has some above average playmaking ability because of his ability to run and pass. But you're going to get some good downfield pass. Hit one last night, but you didn't get enough big plays in the offense, and probably not enough consistency. And last week it was brought up on the show. He needs to protect himself and be protected. And I think there's been this fear that he could get hurt. And here we are talking about his availability, whether he'll be available next week.
After he got creamed last week by the Tennessee Tech game as well. I will say this, 13, when you have 23 yards rushing on 13 carries, it was 3 sacks included in that, I guess. I thought he remained calm in the pocket. I pointed out he puts the ball on the ground a lot. He saved one of those on a bad snap yesterday. Yep. But that was not a clean pocket that he was dealing with last night, and I never thought that he looked rattled. So,
and that was a reason that I think we thought last week start him because of his experience on the road, and that's going to be a really tough spot. And I think that showed last night.
Yeah, I did too.
When you rank him against other SEC quarterbacks, he's not going to be very high, is he?
No, not
which would suggest pretty average to me.
What average throw on 4th down to Callaway though? That was above average.
Thank you, Chuck.
Big fan. Right. Jimmy and Will, take a look at Emory Jones' numbers from last night. That was his best effort of the year, easily. Just really, really good last night. 2 touchdowns, 5 interceptions the previous games. 2 touchdowns, no interceptions last night. Nearly 8 yards per pass attempt, 77%, 78% completion. What's the issue? If I'm telling you to assign blame, which level of the defense gets the biggest percentage of blame? D-line, Will, linebackers, or secondary? Where do you put the blame for Emory Jones' big night throwing the football?
Linebackers. Yesterday, a lot of their big plays were definitely the back out of the backfield, or that last guy in the end. They're coming off and they're running pick plays, or the linebacker. I think it's hard not knowing without the playbook, but what play was being called. But it looked like a blitz peel, which is where the last guy blitzing should be picking up the guy as he breaks off for a route, and he didn't. Then that's why the guy was wide open. So I put a lot on the linebackers that, Dan Mullen last year against his linebacking core basically designed everything around beating them.
Right.
A lot of the plays yesterday were designed around going after the linebackers, putting them in bad matchups, bad positions, and that's where they got a lot of their throws.
Jimmy, you agree?
Yeah, but I'm going to also put it on the defensive line. I didn't think the pass rush was very good, and I'm still waiting for Byron Young to show up. He was a guy that we had heard so much about, and he hasn't had an impact. I didn't think Tyler Barron put a lot of pressure on Jones. I thought Jones had too much time to throw, which I think created a lot of openings in the secondary. So I think a lot of it has to do with the pass rush that I thought would be better than it has been, because I thought Young, Harrison, Barron, I thought would be pretty decent pass rushers. I didn't see much of that last
He
night.
dropped back 28 times last night. You sacked him once.
Right.
At one point, Emory Jones completed 18 of his first 21 passes. He completed, and 12 in a row at one point.
Yeah.
And Emory Jones is not that kind of quarterback.
It's not. We do not have an outside pass rush at this point. Now, I did see when Byron Young got in, he had 2 good rushes, but he didn't rush a lot. Like, he just was not the down guy, and on the play, he was just not going upfield. He was dropping. He was doing something else. So it's kind of one of those things. It was hard to see, like, well, how does he get into this? But, yeah, I mean, Barron lost contain a couple of times because really his only move right now is to run in, bull rush the guy, and go upfield. And, you know, the offensive lineman, when you have a running quarterback, just turns your hips inside, and the quarterback knows he's got all the outside to run to. So they've got to get better on the outside pass rush. That's where they're struggling.
On the Byron Young point, this is a guy who took up football late. Sounds like another JUCO guy that came in here that got way too much hype, named Jonathan Congo.
Where that was going.
I mean, that doesn't mean this guy's going to be Congo. He's early in his career. First 2 games he didn't even get to play due to his was the NCAA issues. So part of the, I'm like you. I was going to mention Byron Young on this show because it's disappointing, not necessarily putting on him, but putting on the hype that was surrounding him. Much more was expected than what we've seen so far.
But you got to get in there on 3rd and long. At a couple plays I saw him, and I was like, why is he not on the field? Right, because it was obvious passing downs, and he wasn't. And you're like, you don't have an outside pass rush. Get the one guy you think may be able to do that at least out there.
How much do you need to trust him in that situation? Just, there's the quarterback.
Yeah, when they move the ball,
Fetch.
go.
Yeah,
go.
and they don't
I mean,
do that enough. I don't think. They're not
I
just
think
turning
they-
him loose as much as I
because
think they should.
on the 2 he did get that were straight up pass rushes, he was fast off the ball. He doesn't have a lot of moves, I don't think, after that. But still, that's better than what you got.
All right, we've gone way too far on that one. But when we come back, we're going to have the VFLs join us, and I'm going to ask them what penalties tell us about this football team. And also, if Hendon Hooker and Cooper Mace can't go versus Missouri, what's the team reaction? Next man up. And then I'll grind into them to see if that's reality. Come on back.